Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here today. My name is Lena Masri. I'm the CAIR National Litigation and Civil Rights Director. We're here to announce a lawsuit that we filed earlier today against a McDonald's franchise located in Baltimore, Washington International Airport in Maryland on behalf of Ms. Diamond Powell, who's here with us today. The lawsuit was filed earlier in the United States District Court in the District of Maryland. Ms. Powell had been working under the same management for several months and never had any problems until she converted to Islam and began wearing the hijab. She was ultimately forced to resign from her job as a result of the harassment she endured and McDonald's refusal to accommodate her requests to take short breaks to pray. We at CAIR are continuing to document an alarming escalation of cases of American Muslims that have similar stories to Ms. Powell, that are being unlawfully discriminated against by their employers and that are losing their jobs as a result. And here, all Ms. Powell requested was a few minutes a day to pray, and she lost her job for it. Ms. Powell, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm glad, to have, mashallah, strong women like yourself come forward. So if you can please, share your experience and your story with us here today.
Yes, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I received my bachelor's in advertising and public relations from Morgan State University. Is it possible to hold on? Because someone's at my door.
Hello, maintenance. Hello.
Okay, so until Ms. Powell comes back, Zanah, I'm going to hand it over to you. Can you talk a little bit about the legal perspective on Ms. Powell and what happened to her and what we're doing as an organization to advocate for her?
Absolutely. So we filed a lawsuit in federal district court on behalf of Ms. Diamond Powell, who worked for a McDonald's franchisee at Baltimore, Washington International Airport. And quite frankly, what that McDonald's franchisee did was illegal. The law mandates that McDonald's not only protect its employees from harassment, but that it also provides employees with reasonable religious accommodations. Here, McDonald's illegally prohibited a Muslim employee from taking short prayer breaks, though the prayers only last 5 to 10 minutes and are equivalent to a bathroom or smoke break. McDonald's reprimanded Ms. Powell from taking these short prayer breaks, but allowed non-Muslim employees bathroom, smoke, and lunch breaks without repercussion. To allow non-religious breaks while prohibiting religious breaks of equal time length is a basic example of discrimination. And the law also mandates that McDonald's provide a non-hostile work environment to employees. And here, McDonald's also illegally subjected Ms. Powell to a hostile work environment by harassing Ms. Powell because of her religion and sex and by denying her prayer requests. This McDonald's franchisee made clear that Ms. Powell was welcome when she was Christian and no longer welcome after she converted to Islam. And we intend to hold McDonald's accountable for its violations of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and the Maryland Fair Employment Practices Act. And we appreciate Ms. Powell's strength and courage in coming forward to make sure that other Muslim women aren't subjected to the same illegal actions of this McDonald's franchisee.
Ms. Powell, I'm glad to have you back. Thank you, Zanah. If you can tell us a little bit about what happened and share your experience at McDonald's with us.
Sure. Sorry about earlier. Working from home and doing things virtually is a whole nother experience, and I forgot to put the note on the door. So, but to give you just a little bit of background about my experience and how we got here is starting off from where I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I studied advertising and public relations at Morgan State University, and I'm currently pursuing branding and copywriting. But in 2017, I was working for McDonald's, and I was working for two of the locations in the BWI airport until they forced me to resign in 2018. As Zanah told you before, I was Christian when I started working at McDonald's and when they hired me, and I had no problems. Like, people were friendly, the relationships were good. I was excited to work there. I was excited to move up there. I was excited to make positive changes there as a manager because the headquarters is in Virginia, but they were looking to expand. So I was happy to help them with that. I had good relationships. I met them at a conference in Baltimore. So I was confident that I was going to do well. But shortly after I converted to Islam, and I learned more about my faith, I began wearing the hijab, and I began praying 5 times a day. Typically, only 2 of the prayers fell into my shift while I was at work and took about 5 or 10 minutes. I did ask McDonald's for permission to take the breaks, but unfortunately, McDonald's did everything they could do to deny me my prayer breaks. They tried very hard to convince me to like stop praying. They requested me to pray in odd places like the stockroom or like a place where there could be like people loading onto airplanes or in between traffic or um, rows of shelves or like in the back room where they wash dishes and it's susceptible to flooding and garbage would like come from the drain and would cover the area there. They told me that they told me that I couldn't pray anymore inside the store after I would not pray in that area, and we had meetings talking about how could they accommodate me, but they didn't really accommodate me, and they told me that I couldn't pray in the store, and they told me that I couldn't leave the store to pray. So that's really telling me that you don't want me to pray at all. They told me I had to ask permission to pray. Then they told me I can only pray once per shift, and then they eventually told me not to pray at all. And that is something that I really don't understand because people go to the bathroom, people take lunch breaks, people have cigarette breaks, which they don't have a problem with. But when it came to fulfilling my religious obligations, then it became a problem for business. It also, like wearing the hijab, also became like, I don't know, it seemed like a sign of this is a person that I should harass. And as soon as I started wearing the hijab and asking for prayer breaks, I started to endure constant verbal and emotional abuse, and work became very stressful. I was sexually harassed because of the stigma surrounding the hijab. The sexual harassment I felt as a boundary, like as a violation of my boundaries, and it hindered my self-worth. And because of it, I dreaded working at McDonald's. I put in repeated requests for like resolutions. I have letters, emails that I wrote, notes from meetings requesting them to like put a stop to the harassment, trying to make my work a better environment for me, try to put up reasonable accommodations for me to pray, but those requests were repeatedly ignored. And to me, that's a clear sign that McDonald's does not respect women, the cultures, lifestyles, or religious beliefs of others. And management, in turn, made it difficult for me to do my job to the best of my abilities. During my time at McDonald's, I became anxious and I became severely depressed due to the hostile environment. Um, and my experience at McDonald's was just very, very hurtful, angering, and disappointing. And no Muslim woman should ever experience what I went through. And I hope that this lawsuit will help other Muslim women like me. Thank you.
Ms. Powell, thank you so much. I can't imagine what you went through. It really is terrible and egregious. Unfortunately, we have seen a very alarming increase in cases, post Trump administration, where American Muslims throughout the country are being fired or are being forced to quit their jobs because they're put in a position where they have to choose between their faith and the workplace. And American Muslims are losing their jobs across the nation for this. We've seen an alarming increase that we've been documenting, and not just our national headquarters, but our chapters across the country are seeing similar increases. Zainab Chaudhry, who is our director at CAIR Maryland office, is here with us today. Can you give us a perspective that's a local perspective on what you're seeing on the ground level, and what kind of incidents have been coming into you?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Lena, and to our Civil Rights Department. And thank you, Sister Diamond, for your courage in coming forward. Unfortunately, this disturbing case is a glaring reminder of the challenges that Muslim employees often face within the workplace, simply for practicing their sincerely held religious beliefs, including right here in Maryland. Just to underscore what Lena said, we're seeing, unfortunately, an uptick in the number of incidents that are being reported of Muslims who feel unsafe or who are experiencing a hostile work environment because of the fact that they're visibly Muslim. It's no secret Islamophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry continue to contribute to harassment, discrimination, and intimidation in various forms. And we're blessed that our organization is committed to protecting the constitutional rights that guarantee religious freedom for all, including yourself, Sister Diamond. No one should have to make a choice between their jobs and earning an income and practicing their faith without being subjected to religious or sexual harassment. We're proud of your courage in coming forward. And we're looking forward to getting justice for you through our legal team. And we hope that your situation and your courage inspires others who might be experiencing similar examples of harassment and discrimination and intimidation and bullying and harassment to also come forward and to demand justice for themselves. Because only when we collectively speak out and we work to push back against the bigotry and the xenophobia that's contributing to these instances can we truly create inclusive spaces within our different places of work. So thank you for your courage, Sister Diamond. Thank you so much to our legal team who's doing a phenomenal job of working to get justice for yourself and your family.
Thank you so much. And we do encourage anyone else who is facing similar experiences to please come forward. We cannot do our work unless we have strong, powerful women like Ms. Powell, who's joined us today. I know it's not easy to share a story like that. I'm personally, mortified by what you've said. Being forced to not just choose between your faith and continuing work, but they put you in a position where you had to either pray in a really unsafe and unsanitary environment that was actually impossible to even pray in the first place, or lose your job. That's really outrageous. And as a community, we should be outraged. We should be, speaking forcefully against incidents like this. And we need people like you, Ms. Powell, to come forward to be able to share your perspective and your story so that we can demand change. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this lawsuit. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please feel free to reach out to our CAIR office if you're pressed and you have additional questions that you want to ask. Otherwise, thank you very much.